It's the summer! Okay, so it might not be reflected in the weather outside, but it was definitely reflected in this month's SewHayleyJane boxes, which had a tropical theme. I'm quite proud of the name, Tropic Like It's Hot. I can't take full credit, I did get that from Pinterest. But anyway, the fabrics inside the boxes this month are incredible. Let me show you them. This is the classic fabric. It's got toucans, it's got tropical leaves, tropical flowers. It is absolutely beautiful. And the luxury fabric. Oh my goodness me. This is, oh, a note to let me know how much is left on the bolt. This is from the amazing fabric brand Rooted, and it is this absolutely beautiful. I love it so much. Viscose in this gorgeous bright green and pink. It is beautiful. Look at that drape. It's so soft, it's so silky, it's so gorgeous. So I thought I would talk about some pattern picks for the summer that would be perfect with these fabrics. So the patterns I have chosen are what I would call beginner or confident beginner patterns. There's a few techniques for you to try, but I've chosen patterns that don't need so much fitting. They're quite loose, maybe they have a bit of gathering around the waist, so they're a bit more easy to fit. So you can focus on some of the techniques and getting to know the fabric without worrying too much about fitting. The first pattern then is the Sauvie Sundress from Sew House 7, which is a really lovely, loose fitting, floaty dress. There's a couple of different versions. Two versions I think would work really well with the cotton, and two versions I think would be better with the viscose. So version 1 and version 2 are sundresses. They've got straps here and they fit up your bust and then just flow down, so it's very loose in the waist. You can add a side slit on the slightly longer version, and you can add pockets as well. Then version 3 and 4, which I think would be better in the viscose, because they have a gathered elasticated waistband, which doesn't work quite so well with cotton. Cotton can be quite stiff for elasticated waistbands, but with a viscose and it drapes a little bit nicer, it's a bit softer, so an elasticated waist would be perfect. So I think this is going to be a really lovely pattern for those super hot summer days. You can get it in either paper or PDF, and it comes in 2 different size bands, either a size 0 to 20 or a 16 to 34, which I think is like a 54-inch bust, 64-inch hip, something like that. So a really lovely range of sizes there, so it's definitely worth having a look at that one. Okay, next pattern is the Champagne Field Top and Dress by Matchy Matchy. This is a really lovely style of dress and top. It has gathers on the high bust. You can choose between a little frill sleeve or a puff sleeve, and it also has a bonus option or suggestion for how to patchwork your fabric together to make a really unique style dress. You can use either cotton or viscose for this. The cotton will give a slightly puffier sleeve because it's slightly stiffer, so it will hold its shape better, or the viscose will drape a lot more, so it will be a lot more floaty, things like that. So yeah, it's worth trying both and seeing which style you like. If I was going to make this one, I would definitely choose to make the top out of the viscose. I prefer a floatier style, but this comes in a size extra small to 6XL, which I think is a 67-inch hip. So again, really fantastic range of sizes with this one. The next pattern I want to talk about is the Lanti swing dress from Sew to Grow, which actually says on the back of the pattern envelope that it is the perfect learn to sew the basics of dressmaking pattern to help build your wardrobe. So this is definitely a really good place to start for a beginner. I think this would work slightly better in a lighter weight viscose, Other fabrics would work well, like a double gauze or a crepe, something like that. If you are a bit further along in your sewing journey, sewing something with a crepe is a good next step to build your repertoire of skills. This pattern has a few different options, so you can mix and match, or you can try one version and then you can try another version, so you can get quite a lot of bang for your buck with this one, which I absolutely really appreciate in a pattern. There is a sleek A-line dress with pockets. You can have short sleeves, you can have 3/4 length sleeves, or you can add a frill to your sleeves as well to make like a bell sleeve, very sort of floaty. There's also an option for a bodice with a gathered skirt or just a sleek top. So loads of options to play around with. This pattern comes in a size 8 to 22, which is a 48-inch bust and a 50-inch hip. But make sure to check the finished garment measurements as well, because there is some wearing ease. So there's a little bit more room to play around with. So the finished garment measurement says that the bust finishes at 52 inches and the hip finishes at 54 inches. So there's a little bit more room to play around with there as well, which is really handy to bear in mind. Pattern number 4 then is the Reynolds Top and Dress from Helen's Closet. I love Helen's Closet. She does a really good job of explaining her pattern instructions. I mean, all the pattern companies do a great job, but I feel like for beginner sewists, Helen's Closet is a really good place to start. The Reynolds top is a super simple, super sleek sundress. It's got straps. It's finished with a facing around the neckline, so that's a really great technique to learn. There is a top version, a midi version, or a full-length version. So all you really need to think about is fitting sort of here and then making sure it just sort of flows outwards. So there's no fitting around the waist or the hips. You just want it to flow. This would work really well in the cotton and the viscose too. What's really good about Helen's Closet is her patterns come in 2 different size ranges and there's quite a lot of crossover. So the first size range is a size 0 to 22 B cup. The second size range is a size 12 to 34 D cup. So something to think about when pattern companies have different cup sizes. We're not necessarily, I say we, I'm not a pattern company, they are not necessarily thinking about what bra size you're wearing. Instead, we're talking about the difference between your high bust measurement and your full bust measurement. So you take a tape measure, measure around the fullest part of your bust, and then measure around your back up to your high bust, which is sort of up here. If there is more than 2 inches difference, you would want to go for the bigger cup size band, the D cup. Usually pattern companies make their patterns in a B cup, but a lot more expanding into C and D cup patterns as well. Okay, the last pattern I want to talk about is the pattern that I am planning to sew with this beautiful viscose, and it is the Nina Lee Carmel jumpsuit. This is definitely what I would class as very confident beginner, moving maybe into more intermediate, because you're thinking about trousers as well as a bodice here, and there is a zip to insert too. So definitely a few more techniques, but once you've tried a couple of patterns, then there is absolutely no reason you can't try something like this. And if you're gutsy, go for it anyway. Why not? It's really fitted on the bodice, around the bust, and then from the sort of high waist is these gorgeous floaty wide leg trousers. I just think it's amazing, and I think this is definitely something, the kind of pattern that I would wear a lot in the summer, in the hot weather. It's PDF only, and it comes again in 2 size brackets. It comes in a size 6 to 20 or a size 16 to 28. So the size 28 goes up to a 57-inch hip, and there's a couple of different options for the neckline. You can have a scoop or a V-neck with thicker straps, or sort of go straight across your bust with strappy straps. And with the v-neck, there's also the option of a little collar for a little extra detail as well. I just think it's really, really beautiful. You could definitely sew this in something like a cotton. It wouldn't give that floaty effect as much as a viscose would. So I would definitely veer towards something floaty with it, like a viscose with this pattern. There you have it. Those are my pattern suggestions for this month's SewHayleyJane fabrics. Let me know in the comments below what pattern you would choose for these beautiful, beautiful fabrics. This is so gorgeous. So, so gorgeous. I will see you all really soon. Bye.